5, 4, 3, 2, 1. KenCast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to KenCast. It's great to have you here. My goodness, we've only done one recently. We did one with Drew O'Halley, an amazing KenCast just a little while ago, and now we're back again. It feels so good to be back with you, and I hope you're doing well. Today, I thought we could talk about a few things. I know a lot of people watching this are Cobra Kai fans, and I have not done my normal amount of KenCast and discussion about Cobra Kai since it ended because I have some other very exciting projects I've been working on. However, we're going to go back and revisit a little bit of that and talk about some news that impacts the entire entertainment industry. This supposed upcoming takeover of Warner Brothers by Netflix. And this whole thing has me wondering, is Terry Silver involved? Could he be alive? And is he plotting a Hollywood takeover? And is this all part of his master plan? I want to hear your thoughts. Please leave your comments and we will address them today. But in order to have this conversation, I thought it would be important to have a very special guest with us today. Not only is he an extremely talented filmmaker and working in the Hollywood area, but he's also a Terry Silver guru. So he understands the mind of Terry Silver, Terry Silver's plans, and I think he might provide the key insight, the key expertise to determine what the heck's going on here. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome Dave Srock. Dave, how are you?
Yes, happy Christmas, Ken Cole. We are back on the KenCast, and I can't believe that I'm back on the KenCast for this epic return. I don't know how I got so lucky to be a part of it.
Well, thank you, sir. We are honored to have you here, and I love your hat.
It's a good hat. It's quite dirty. I did pull it out of a pretty dusty bag, but it's making do for the KenCast. We'll accept it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, I guess you wearing your hat, I should wish you a very Terry Christmas.
Very Merry Terry Christmas. I do think we have some things Terry Silver wise to talk about in terms of how he was, we'll call it wrapped up
Sure.
season 6. But yeah, so very Merry Terry Christmas, where I hope all the kids get a nice Terror Bear.
Exactly. Everyone who's been watching this channel for a long time and has happened to see Cobra Cole, Dave Srock was the director of photography for Cobra Cole, which there's a Terror Bear reference in that. So definitely check it out. There's a link in the description if you have not seen Cobra Cole. Just want to say hello to everyone. My goodness, it's great to see you guys. AEH. Great to see you. John, NASA Canes fan. Terry Silver and Netflix are taking over absolutely nothing if I have anything to do with it. That's good. Marianella, great to see you. Kenny, Kitty, yes. Quicksilver 81, hello, Ken and everyone. Darkest Hour, great to see you. Aurelio, great to see you. Good afternoon, Sensei Cole. Terrence Silver needs his own movie. Ooh, would be much better than the Legends garbage. We can talk about that too. Dave, I don't know if you've seen Karate Kid Legends.
I turned it off, and I don't know if that's a ringing endorsement or not.
Okay, all right. We will get into that. We will get into that. Ridian 77. I hope the ending of Cobra Kai as a disappointment for me. Okay, yeah, we've heard that a bit. Jorge, hello, Ken. Terry lives. You agree, Dave?
Absolutely. I will not stand for what they tried to make me think happened.
Exactly. We've got John says we need Terry Silver's lawyer, Badway. Where is he? I agree. We got to get Badway back here on this. Jay Wiggin, great to see you. Terry takes over everything. I was watching Christmas Vacation and Clark was at NutriTalks, another Silver run company. Wow.
That's an interesting
Interesting.
connection.
That's an amazing connection. Jay, that's incredible. I
Shared
love
universes. A lot of people didn't know it, but
Yes.
Jay's getting to the deep stuff here. I like it.
I totally agree. DJC, more like Terry Christmas. Great. Jaws says Terry Christmas and Dave and chat members. And then we've been having this lately. The ghost of Big T says Tear Bears will be coming to Build a Bear in 2026. That's great. We've got Sentai Ranger Donnie. Hello, Ken, Dave, and all. Hope as well, despite NBC Universal losing its bid to buy Warner Brothers Discovery. I'm fine on whether Netflix or Paramount Skydance would win. We're going to talk about this. Now, Dave, first off, I'd like to ask you, can you, I don't know how familiar you are with the details of this supposed takeover of Warner Brothers by Netflix and or Paramount, but I was wondering if you could give me your sort of 10,000-foot level read on this, just from being in and around the movie industry for so long. What is your impression of what's happening right
I know that a lot of people might act like the sky is falling or anything when Netflix is going to buy more stuff. But if I'm being completely honest, I don't think it's that much different than what's been going on with Warner Brothers most of my life. I mean, I feel like I remember going to see movies as a kid that said AOL Time Warner Company. And at that time, we were like, oh, AOL owns Warner Brothers? That's weird. But same thing. Warner Brothers kept making their movies, kept cranking out their stuff. So I kind of agree with that comment you just read. Like Paramount or Netflix, I don't know, whoever buys it, I just hope somebody buys it and respects it and it can keep doing what it's been doing. But there is going to be some big evil mega corporation that will end up with it at the end of the day. And that is unfortunately just part of the nature of it. I would love that Warner Brothers could exist on its own, but it seems like most of my life they actually have not. They've always been owned by somebody. So
That's a really great point because you bring up the fact that AOL used to own Warner Brothers, and AOL is like a complete non-entity right now. It's like no one uses America Online anymore. But it was
all we did
huge.
was get those random discs in the mail for like an extra 10 years that everybody said, oh, this still exists. But yeah, they're going to get bounced around, and I hope whoever has them respects them. I would say that I do think it's important for Netflix to still let Warner Brothers release their movies at the theaters. I do want to push for that, certainly. I don't want that being taken away, maybe like we saw during the pandemic. But at the same time, it's a little bit of we're in a big transition period right now. And I think none of us really know where all the cards are going to fall. I think there will always still be diehard people who will go to the theater, though. Even if that group gets smaller, I think that will always exist. But we are in a big transition right now.
Yeah, totally agree. Ghost of Big T says Warner Brothers gets passed around more than Coke at a Dine-Tox Christmas party.
The ghost of Big T would know.
Yes, you would. And so, Dave, speaking of Big T, let's go back because I don't think we've talked publicly about Cobra Kai since the ending has happened. And so, can you kind of give us your thoughts on Cobra Kai overall, and especially our boy Terry Silver?
Absolutely. First, let me just jump on that by criticizing you, Ken Cole, for leaving us KenCast fanatics hanging dry over the season 6 finale. You were not here, and we're all right. To be fair, I was with Ken Cole the exact week those episodes released, and I was not watching them either. So I'm just as guilty. But we were doing something very cool project that Ken has coming up. So that's very exciting.
Yes. Dave.
That being said.
Yes. So I take that criticism, Dave. And I am so sorry to everyone here that I wasn't around during that time. We were working on something very big. So we were working on a feature film. and that you'll probably hear more about that coming up in the near future. We don't have anything to announce yet, but rest assured, it has nothing to do with the Miyagi verse or Cobra Kai or anything. It's totally different, but it's pretty big. So we're very excited, and there is some Cobra Kai talent that is part of this project. So stay tuned. We'll let you know about all that. So John, NASA Canes fan, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Thanks for the super chat. John says, the scariest thing for me is the damage this will do to theater releases and physical media. I still believe there's a place for physical media, and its curation is important. That's a really great point, John. And I want to get back to that idea. The first thing I need to know, though, is Dave, your thoughts on Terry Silver, where he ended up, whether he's alive, and then we'll see whether he could be possibly contributing to the current consolidation trend in Hollywood.
Right. So I'm going to 100% say, in my mind, Terry Silver is not dead. That did not happen. You can say the boat blew up, but he crawled to shore and some Sith Lord came in and scooped him up or something. I don't know. But like, I just can't accept that him and Kreese went out at the exact same time in that way. And maybe the creators are being a little ambiguous by technically never showing us their bodies with two black X's right over their eyes or something. But I feel like this was a criminal move a little bit. I think they did my boy Terry a little dirty, and I would have liked to have seen him in the final episode have some kind of presence. I actually think that was maybe what bothered me even more than the explosion on the yacht, if we want to reference the spoiler. But maybe they in their own mind thought we didn't actually show him dead, so we're kind of alluding towards it, but we didn't technically say it. But for the final episode after that, when they just kind of said, "Hey, where's Terry?" I was thinking the same thing. Hey, where's my guy? Like we just spent a miracle run of a miracle show bringing him back, and now we're just at where did he go? I don't know. We don't know. We're leaving it up in the air. So that's where I kind of felt with it. If it were me, Terry Silver would be owning everything at the end of the show. I get we can't do that for the sake of a narrative arc, but yeah, I wasn't crazy about the decision that was made to blow him up. Oh, Ken Cole, you're muted.
That was weird. Hopefully you can hear me now.
I can hear you.
Oh, fantastic. The thing with Terry, right, I think what I loved about Terry before he even showed up on Cobra Kai was the fact that as fans, we knew he was lurking out there somewhere. And that's why I started making videos, because I knew just Terry being Terry, he was out there and he was going to make an appearance and he's lurking. And I kind of like the idea that Terry would still be lurking out there. Even if he went away and you didn't see him anymore, he was still out there. And possibly I agree, like the idea of him being eliminated from the face of the earth, I don't know, makes the world a little less fun. But I want to come back to what you're talking about, the possibility that he did not blow up, that he managed to get off that boat, because they filmed a deleted scene, which they didn't use, of like Kreese kind of taking a magazine. You could see his hand taking a magazine, like, where is Terry Silver? Kind of implying that Kreese got out of it. And I would think if Kreese got out of it, then Terry would get out of it. So I don't know. Do you think that's possible, even canonically, with the series? If they did a follow-up to Cobra Kai, do you think Terry Silver could pop up plausibly?
In my mind, he has to. The only problem I have with that is they did set up that he was sick. So does that mean no matter what he's checking out? And that to me is also sad. I didn't want to see my guy sad and sick for the last season. I want to see him at the top of his evil powers.
Right. And I always thought that they had their tiff. Terry did his double cross of John Kreese, and I'm sure I understand why Kreese was angry about that. But man, when they were on the same side, they were like the best team of all time.
Yeah.
And wouldn't that be amazing if they like somehow came back together to be this ultimate evil force, I guess you could say, from Daniel's perspective, for the finale?
It'd be great, but I think they had put too much time and care into redeeming Kreese. So it felt like no matter what, we were kind of leading up to that scene he had with Johnny, which I thought was a great scene, actually.
Yeah.
It was probably, for both of them, that was maybe in their top of the show. But I don't need Kreese redeemed, and I don't need Terry to be ambiguous either. I'm fine with him just being dominant and being very present.
Right.
Look, I'm biased. What can I say?
I know. Well, we're all biased on this channel, right? And we're huge Terry Silver fans. And the thing is, even if we have these like mini discussions, I mean, my goodness, we have to be thankful for that entire series, Cobra Kai. The fact that we got Thomas Ian Griffith back and he gave such an amazing performance. There's so many amazing creatives behind Cobra Kai. And honestly, I really did feel like, Terry Silver, his fate notwithstanding, I mean, that final episode, my gosh, I just thought was they really, I thought they really landed the plane, like as far as going out on almost the same note that they started the series on.
Yes, and they really did need to come back to Daniel and Johnny in the end, and that's the arc that started for all of us in season 1 that we love so much, was them driving in the car, listening to Speedwagon together. That was amazing. So they had a very tricky web of characters to navigate, especially for that final season. So I totally understand why some characters had to take a backseat a little bit, and maybe we couldn't spend as much time with my guy Stingray as I would have liked to, but happy that he still got an appearance and things like that. But in some ways, I almost like to mentally think the show ended at the end of season 5. Terry's in prison, and we're still thinking about how he's going to break out, as opposed to, did he jump off that boat before he exploded?
Right. Indeed. And Jay, he talks about what you brought up about him being sick. Jay says he was lying about his sickness to gain the upper hand, making his enemies feel bad for him. And the thing is, this right here, that is pure Terry Silver. Like that he would basically present himself as having this terminal illness to gain sympathy. Like it's just his MO. Like so I think the thing is, like, from the series perspective, it's tough because didn't they do like kind of flashbacks to memories of doctors, like saying, oh, you're not gonna, so it kind of makes it seem like, oh, it's harder to have that interpretation.
Yeah, I would have loved if they did reveal that it was all made up and that he was just hanging around hospitals. And that's a deep level of manipulation that would be perfectly fitting for Terry Silver. I know we talked about it at the time when there was like a break, but do you think he's making that up? And I said, oh, I hope so.
Right. Marianella says, my theory is that in Argentina, the FBI doesn't have jurisdiction here, not as if he had done anything wrong. He might even have powerful businessmen and contacts here. That's really interesting. And so, Marianella, you are from Argentina. The thing is with Terry, he is a worldwide guy. Like he is dominant around the world. So I wouldn't be surprised. What do you think, Dave?
See, I would love to get into more global affairs with Terry Silver because we always hear about it. We know he's dumping toxic sludge in Burma or wherever, and you know, this is, I think, our fantasy too of the Dynatox show. If that could exist, we'd be getting more of this specific kind of thing, which we know Terry can handle global affairs like no other. So it's definitely an untapped, explored area for Terry.
Right. Oh man, do you think the Dynatox show could happen?
Oh, I hope so. Hey, maybe Netflix gets a little extra cash after acquiring Warner Brothers, and they say, you know what? I think we're not done with this Cobra Kai stuff yet. So
Yeah,
I think it's possible. We've seen Netflix do crazier things, actually. So
right. And, okay, so let's move towards what's going on in the industry. We have a comment. Sentai Ranger Donnie says, "Speaking of Warner Brothers overall, I must be honest. I have seen the new Supergirl movie teaser trailer. In my opinion, it was as underwhelming as the recent poster for Star Trek Starfleet Academy. However, I shall give both projects a fair chance. More power to those who love the Supergirl teaser and the Starfleet Academy poster." Interesting. Right. So I think this is, we have to have this conversation, Dave, just in this modern context of what are the movies being produced? Is Hollywood really making movies that the audience wants to see? Because it seems like every once in a while, even right now with Zootopia 2, there are these mega hits where everyone is going to the theater to watch these movies. You know, and you can go back to Barbenheimer or Super Mario Brothers or Minecraft, and like everyone wants to go to the theater to have this experience. But, you know, listening to certain people, maybe from certain companies, it almost seems like, well, no, audiences don't want to go to the movies. But I don't know. Do you think it's more, Hollywood's not really making the type of movies generally that people want to go see in the theater?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think we've all got superhero movie fatigue and sequel fatigue and all that stuff. But every once in a while, somebody makes a really good one, like a Top Gun Maverick or something, and everybody jumps on board and gets excited about it. And at the same time, even with like streaming, yeah, we know Netflix makes a lot of crap that goes straight to Netflix. They've made some pretty good movies though, too. And most movie studios are operating that way. Like they got a couple of big ones, and then the rest is like, hey, we hope something good's going to come of these. So, what gets the audience excited? I have no idea, though. It does seem a little all over the place, but
Right.
kudos to all those movies that are bringing people to the theaters.
Yes, indeed. And let me bring up this article that might be able to focus us on what's happening. So this is an article from the BBC. Oh wait, hang on. So so this is England reporting right now, UK. A nightmare. The battle over Warner Brothers is turning Hollywood upside down. Disaster, catastrophe, and nightmare. That's how Hollywood's creative workers describe the fall of the once mighty Warner Brothers as Netflix and Paramount battle to buy the historic studio, and Tinseltown braces for more upheaval and job losses. So basically, it's being mourned in Hollywood. This is a historic studio, and right now, obviously, Netflix has made the official quote deal. David Ellison at Paramount is wanting to buy it as well, and this is the sentiment, I think, that we've seen online about Warner Brothers and Netflix and what's going on in Hollywood. But you kind of hinted at it before, Dave. Can you give us your thoughts, like on this? So people watching, there have been a lot of panic videos on YouTube, you know, and they talk about physical media, they talk about the theatrical experience, but what is your read on the panic, and if people should be panicked?
Yeah, I don't know if people want more clicks for their articles or whatever, but I just can't get this panicked about it. One, because I'm an indie filmmaker, so none of these studios give a crap about me anyways. But second of all, like we've just been through this so many times before, bigger companies acquiring others. Nobody likes monopolies. We all agree on those things. But I kind of feel like for me, the disaster is Hollywood not making any attempts to bring filming back to Los Angeles. We don't have the tax incentives that Atlanta has. There's so many productions going overseas now to other company or countries, just so they can hire dirt poor labor and make movies that way. And we've just seen very little effort from Los Angeles of like, hey, we want all of this back. Actually, we used to have 80% of this or whatever, and we would really love it back. It's great to film in LA too because the weather is always good. That was always a part of the Hollywood experience, why we're filming movies here. So whoever owns whatever is always going to be this thing that's always happening. And is Viacom better than Netflix? What's the point of even debating that, in my opinion, honestly? But the disaster is we're losing productions in the United States in general. Even Atlanta is losing a lot of their production jobs. And if even as a country or a city or a state, wherever it is, we should be trying to get a lot of that back. So that's to me, that's the number one issue, because it's not just, I know people from somewhere else might say, oh, who cares if Hollywood falls apart or whatever, like screw them, it's Hollywood. There's a lot of people who think that way about entertainment, but they're kind of ignoring that the entertainment industry is totally baked in to Los Angeles as a town, and even San Diego and up to San Francisco. Like, it's touching every business from a restaurant to a key shop owner or somebody who works regularly for these studios. And I grew up around Detroit, so I think that's just how my brain works. If we lost the car industry, we're going to be in trouble in Michigan, Ohio, Illinois. That's going to be a lot of jobs just gone. And that's kind of what's going on in LA with production. So that's all right. That was a little bit of soapboxy thing there, but that's just where I'm at with the studios. Like, I'm kind of rolling my eyes at whoever owns the studios. That's money and power way above most people.
Right. You said something very important, a lot of important things, but one thing that I thought very, very particularly important is the idea that production has moved away from Los Angeles. And you have to wonder, the reason why these companies need to consolidate and I guess save money is because that revenue isn't coming in anymore from the production side, like where their sound stages on the studio lots would be full and bustling, and you have like all of those services are not being utilized in Los Angeles right now, and they're being utilized elsewhere, either other states or other countries. And so there's less revenue coming into these companies, and they can't afford, like Warner Brothers being in debt. That's got to be a reason. Their business model is not doing well. And I remember when we were shooting Cobra Cole, if say you wanted to film in Los Angeles or anywhere in Los Angeles County, you need to, if you're going to do this legally, even if you're in someone's private residence, you have to buy a permit from the city.
Yes.
And it's very expensive. It's kind of ridiculous.
It's very ridiculous. It's put in place so that I can't just have 8 production trucks come crowd up my neighborhood street one afternoon or something like that. So it's understandable, but obviously the reach has gone way too far. Don't get me started on specifically the town of Pasadena. I like you, Pasadena, but you guys can take a hike on some of these costs you're asking for.
Right. But I mean, and that's just one small part, isn't it? It's like the the cost to make a movie here is so much more than other places. And I think the state, the city needs to do subsidies. I totally agree. But at the same time, I think these individual cities and people who are charging these, I think, exorbitant fees. Even if you want to go shoot in a park, you need a permit, and but that permit's too expensive, and it's cost prohibitive to make movies here. So of course you're going to go someplace else. And guys, all of you who are watching, who are fans of Cobra Kai, that's something that Hayden Schlossberg told me is like one of his big disappointments, I guess, on the whole thing was they always envisioned Cobra Kai being filmed in LA, in the real valley, because that's where it takes place. It's the soul of the universe. But they just couldn't do it. And it would have cost 50% more in the show's budget to shoot it in Los Angeles than to shoot it in Atlanta. And so Dave, that's another reason you don't see shows like Cobra Kai, which should by all accounts be shot in Los Angeles.
Absolutely. And that's something for me too, personally, just watching the show. I know if they're saying it drives them crazy, there's so many times I was watching Cobra Kai and I'd just be like, because I live in Los Angeles, I'm looking at it and I'm just going, this is not where Miyagi Dojo is. This is not it. And then there'd be like the random shot where they are on Ventura Boulevard driving down, and I feel it for like 5 seconds and then go, oh, no, now we're back in Atlanta, actually.
Right. Yeah, I liked, one thing, if we're talking about season 6 in the end, they did shoot more in Los Angeles, especially in those final episodes, which was kind of cool. And I'm glad they were able to do that. But guys, yeah, there's a serious problem. If you can't shoot Cobra Kai in Los Angeles, there's a serious problem. And I hope the people in charge, the government, people, I hope they change their tune and start supporting it, because once it leaves, you're not going to be able to get it to come back. And
no, and the wealthy districts don't want it back anyways because they don't care. So then you'll just see it drop off. It'll just be gone.
Yes. John has a super chat. Thank you, John, so much for supporting the channel. Even Star Wars was mostly filmed outside the US, be it the original, prequels, or sequel trilogy. Yes, that's very true. I think, and there's always been production that's happened overseas. People have always gone places to save money. However, I think the problem is now is that there isn't enough steady production happening in Los Angeles. Maybe for some huge projects, they'd go overseas, that type of thing. But if you look at any of your shows from like the 70s or 80s, or maybe even early 90s, and most of the movies that you love from that era, a lot of the shooting was done in the Los Angeles area, like either LA, up near where I am, in Santa Clarita Valley. It's amazing how much stuff was shot up here, and it's just not happening anymore.
Yep. There's the famous MASH hiking site. I never watched MASH, but even, think of that was a Vietnam show, or no, what was it? Korea, I'm sorry. Filmed in Malibu area.
Right. Yeah, and there are a lot of great locations in Southern California, and you're right. The reason why they came out here to Los Angeles, the movie industry in the early days, was because they could open up the roofs and you'd have just guaranteed sunlight. Like the weather was just great for shooting, and that's not changing. So
nope.
They should support shooting here. Matt Moore says, I'm more worried about viewer feedback as streaming continues to make movies theaters obsolete. Box office flops are transparent, but bad films / shows can be hidden in subscription models. What do you think about that, Dave?
I think that is true, but I still think we're dipping into something that existed even when movie stores were a thing. We made fun of them. We called them straight to DVD or straight to whatever Blockbuster, and they looked terrible, and they knew they were putting out a terrible movie, but just to scrape up some extra views from the random eyes that might think it looks good. So the thing about the physical media theaters, yes, we're all scared about losing that because that's the best way to watch a movie. I think we all agree with that, but we have too many things fighting against it, being annoying people in a movie theater, crazy high prices. We've been paying $20 for a bag of popcorn since I was like in middle school, so that's nothing new either. So the industry itself is designing and to push us away from the theaters, which is scary. But I think there will always be a group of people who are going to hold strong and want that. Same as there's people who still play vinyl records, which have no place in technology whatsoever anymore. But people collect, people watch them. So we stay strong together. That's what I'm saying. If you love movies, just keep watching them, keep buying them. We'll stay strong together, and the industry will keep doing what it's doing.
Right, right. And you're right. We've seen this stuff before. We've seen this all before. Whether it's the direct to video stuff, a direct to DVD, like all those types of things, direct to VHS. This is absolutely nothing new, and it seems more and more like streaming is becoming the new cable, like cable 2.0. Like ads are coming back. It's like the cost to stream is like as much as old cable packages that
That's
were too expensive.
exactly it. That's exactly where we're heading. And even professional sports are finally making their way onto Netflix and live events. Netflix has had the SAG Awards, I think, for 2 or 3 years now. So that was the last beacon that was keeping cable alive, was live sports and live events. And most of the streaming has it now.
Do you think that if Netflix buys Warner Brothers and they would own both Netflix and HBO Max, so they would be like the largest player by far in the streaming world, do you think Netflix will kill Warner Brothers' theatrical side?
I don't think they will. I know that nobody believes them if they say that they're not going to, and that's totally reasonable. But I think they also have to listen to the pulse of the audience a little bit. If people didn't like that during the pandemic when all these movies just came out right away. We all maybe watched those and enjoyed it while it was happening, but like realistically, as a whole, the film community was like, this is not good. So I think they would be kind of shooting themselves in the foot a little bit if they just said, we're done with this. If they are done with it, though, I wouldn't be surprised if they come up with their own random theater screening thing just to steal another market for themselves. So
Right. Which I don't, Dave, I don't know if you've ever been down to the Egyptian Theater in Hollywood, which is owned by Netflix. And
okay.
it's actually a great theatrical experience. Like they do it right. Like it's really quite nice. And you go there and you go, well, man, Netflix, like why don't you support this? This is really great actually to see some of your movies on the big screen, and it's such a historic, wonderful theater to watch them in. Great popcorn, so I don't know. I would hope Netflix. You would think that they'd be able to make much more money with some of their movies if they're releasing them theatrically, and then it goes to their streaming platform.
You would think that, but I don't know where whatever deal has to get made with Regal or AMC where something gets lost along the way. But one thing I will say that is positive about Netflix, and this is maybe one thing, I know everybody's against them, but at least one thing they have done is most of the time they hire people to make stuff for them. They stay hands off creatively. They do not meddle with whatever people are making. And if somebody's going to say, well, maybe somebody should have stepped in and cleaned that movie up a little bit because it was a disaster, so be it. But as far as in my lifetime, they're the only big studio I've ever known to do that. We've always heard since we were young that, oh, the producers wanted to do this, but I had to fight for this as the writer or the director, and there's all this back and forth. Netflix just puts their hand in the air, writes a check, and says, "Go make it. We don't care." So that's at least one thing they have done appropriate, I would say.
Yes, that's a really good point. That's very important for filmmakers. Quicksilver 81 says, Ken and Dave, do you think Kickstarter will be utilized more because of Hollywood? The live action He-Man started off on Kickstarter. Fresh ideas. What do you think, Dave?
I'm going to say I wish, but I don't believe it to be something that's going to really change the market. I think we already actually went through that time period. Maybe 8, 9, 10 years ago, I think Kickstarter was making a difference for some people, at least if they were making a product, not just a movie. But I think we've kind of come so far from the introduction of Kickstarter that it's almost like people are annoyed now if they see a Kickstarter because their brain is thinking, are you just asking me for money? Whereas maybe like 10 years ago, it was like, oh, this is a nice thing. We can all help each other out. I don't know if we've just moved differently as a society, but I think it's just another 10 years of the internet existing, really, is all it is. And I would love to say that Kickstarter would make a huge difference, but I think the biggest of big projects already got the benefits from it. And as an era, we've kind of moved on, actually.
Right. And I don't know this for sure, but I would think that especially these big companies, entertainment companies, may not want to mess with Kickstarter because that is a whole other third party that would be funneling money to a production that would have a say. There'd be legal implications there. And if a company wants to keep all that money and all the accounting, in their own books, they may not want money coming through and getting some cut off the top from Kickstarter. I don't know.
Exactly.
I'm wondering.
No, I'm sure of it. I'm sure there's whatever percentage Kickstarter has to take for existing and hosting the funding campaign. Why would Netflix want to even deal with that when they can write $300 million checks to Martin Scorsese or whoever? So,
right. Darkest Hour. Great to see you, Darkest Hour. He has a question. How do you fix the theaters? Event showings, like a 2 to 3 week only theater release before releasing online? Something else? Dave, if you at this moment in human history were to prescribe a cure for the theater sector, what would it be?
I actually think a 2 to 3 week, like if we stuck to that rule strongly, which right now nobody is. We have stuff that comes out streaming and theater on the same day. But I think that would actually be great, but I don't know if it would change people coming. I still think rising prices of tickets and all that stuff has a big effect on it when there is streaming at home. But I would love it if there was just a guaranteed 3 weeks that movies said it still can't be on streaming yet. It still has 1 more week until it has to go to streaming. So the problem is you'll never get all the companies to agree on that, including the theaters, AMC. They'll have their own weird way to deal with it.
I'm trying to think, what is the thing about streaming that made it easy, that made it so dominant? And I would think it would be the initial low cost of this monthly charge, and you have access to all these movies. Is there a way to take, you've got AMC A-List, you've got Regal Unlimited, and I know that there are other versions out there where you pay whatever it is, $20, $25 a month, and you can go to the theater and see as many movies as you want. If these theater chains made an effort to really convert people into this subscription model instead of you're individually paying for tickets every time you go to the movie theater, do you think that could help? If just the mentality that people seem to have now about subscriptions?
I think it would help, but I think it would also be the same as the Netflix subscriptions. It would start at a reasonable rate, and then 8 years from now, we'd all be saying, "Do I really wanna spend $70 a month on going to the movies?" Yes, it includes my popcorn and all that stuff for free now, but you're still dropping whatever a month, and it seems crazy. So,
Hmm.
eh, you know, I think it's the problem is we're going exactly where you said, where streaming is about to just be the exact thing cable was 20 years ago.
Right. Right. So kind of, I guess, bringing it back to the, um, here, let me pull this up here. Oops. So Terry Silver,
Yes.
yes, behind, could he be behind what's going on right now? Could he be plotting a complete, total corporate takeover of Hollywood? And this is just a new sector for him, a propaganda arm of all his businesses and shaping the world how he wants it to be. What do you think about this?
Well, this could possibly be the greatest meta finale to the Cobra Kai show, actually. But here's the thing. We're both kind of saying we think Terry's still alive, right? Or if we're
Yeah.
having to pick a side on that.
Yes.
So if Netflix is maybe the enemy of theaters and things like that, I want Terry Silver running that evil company. And then I can support them fully and have zero guilt about it. I would love for this to happen. Netflix talks, whatever we need to call it, like just just get Terry back in the forefront of not only society but specifically Los Angeles.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. You're right. I would feel so much better. People talk about Ted Sarandos, head of Netflix, and the comments he said. If it were Terry Silver there, I would be fully reassured that Terry would be taking all these companies to greatness and like total domination. And he knows how to put on a show. So
That's very true. Like the theatrics is something he is really good at. So
yes. So good. Well, Dave, you and I will monitor this situation and see if we can find Terry Silver's fingerprints kind of going forward.
yes, let us monitor Terry
Yes.
Silver's fingerprints.
Yes. Check you later says, by the way, Ken, have you heard from Thomasine Griffith in a while? The last I've heard is I think he and his wife, Mary Page Keller, are writers on Virgin River, which is another Netflix show, and very successful show. So I know he's working on that. But as far as like public facing projects, that acting projects, I haven't seen anything from him. Have you, Dave?
No, but the second I get another project going, I'm gonna be trying to getting in myself. So the word's out, Thomas. I'm coming for you. All right, I'm coming for you. I need him in my stuff.
Yeah. I agree. I would, dude, if that happens, I'd love to just hang out behind the scenes and just watch the magic happen because yeah, I totally think like everyone here that Thomasine Griffith being in something just gives it that magic. So
I think we need an excessive force too. Let me just put that out into the world for Thomas Ian Griffith. If you're writing, I think we're ready for the sequel. So
that's so fascinating. Do you think he ever thought about doing a sequel? Because he wrote the original.
I would think he thinks about it weekly, actually. You don't make something that perfect and just let it go and not think about it. It stays with you.
Yeah. We had a great discussion on this channel about excessive force, and that's I think the greatest crime is that it's kind of hard to get a hold of. It's not really on any streamer. You can buy the DVD online, but that's it. Like, I really wish it were more available, even to rent digitally. That would be amazing.
Yes, and that's also maybe something to point out with our Netflix Warner Brothers discussion. It's probably because some random company has the rights to it and is sitting on it and won't let it go, or something stupid. And it's probably some company that barely even exists anymore, or
Right.
it's a big company that's just gone, oh, we're not even going to have this conversation. So somebody's holding that project back.
Yes, I agree. I think we really need to get that project out there to the world, because we're coming up to a time now where movies like that just aren't being made anymore, and it's like this whole treasure trove of movies from the '90s that I think younger audiences need to check out.
Absolutely. I mean, you brought that movie to me, and maybe I'm just giving you my own thoughts, but I think about that movie weekly. So maybe I just like to think that Thomas Ian Griffith is thinking about it that much. But sometimes I wake up and I just think I need to see Thomas Ian Griffith playing jazz in the club with James Earl Jones. It's just on my mind. So,
Right. I know. So such an amazing cast too. Jeez,
oh
guys.
my God, that's the best cast. That's the best kept secret cast I think I've ever run into.
Yep. Yep. Gosh, Lance Henriksen, Tony Todd,
Tony
James Earl
Todd
Jones, and more.
and Burt
Just
Young.
Burt Young, yes. Nice performance from Burt Young in a role that's kind of different from his normal roles.
Well, he usually has to play Paulie the idiot, so that's the main role we
Right.
know him for. So,
Jay Wiggins says Dynaflix.
oh, that's way better than what I said. Yes.
That's great. Simon says, I'm so glad they used the same actors from the original Karate Kid series. Very well put together. I agree. I'm glad that they were so respectful of the original Karate Kid series. Mario, thank you so much for the super chat. It's been a while. Yeah, it's great to have you all here. Matt Moore says, why dumping toxic waste in Borneo is actually a good thing. A documentary produced by Terry Silver. The possibilities are endless with Terry Silver.
I would watch it, and I would be open-minded to why it's a good thing.
Right. Oh man. So Dave, like, I don't know, kind of. So give me your thoughts. There's another article, and I won't bring it up, but from the Digital Bits. I recommend everyone kind of follow the Digital Bits and Bill Hunt. He focuses mainly on physical media, but he inquired with a lot of people, a lot of his contacts at the studios about this whole thing. And he, of course, wants there to be physical media like Blu-rays and DVDs that you can buy. And he doesn't want that to go away because that's been declining too. This is what he said. He's like, it's not cool that Warner Brothers is being bought. However, it is going to be bought. And so you want the least bad option. And he makes the case that Netflix taking over Warner Brothers is actually the least bad option. That, like, if Paramount were to take over Warner Brothers, you have to look at why. And you've got these billionaires who just came in and bought Paramount. They have a lot. They own the lot in Hollywood, the Paramount lot. If they really haven't even produced anything yet, they just bought the company, and already they want to buy Warner Brothers, they're not going to keep it all because it's too redundant. So, like, if they buy the Warner Brothers lot, they're going to have 2 full movie lots that they probably won't need. And so they're going to start dismantling all this stuff. Whereas Netflix doesn't have actually a studio or a production facility in Hollywood, and they could utilize the Warner Brothers infrastructure and lot. It adds to what they have. It doesn't copy what they already have. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I kind of agree with that. I think that is, a little bit of the sentiment of what I was trying to say is, I'm not trying to defend Netflix as this great company, but I do think they're kind of the least bad option of the main options, and somebody is going to buy it. Warner Brothers is not just going to be its own thing. And if we're talking about studio space, Yeah, I mean, I live pretty close to Warner Brothers, and I'm not even in there very often, but I know they're not full all the time. So, and that's the problem. What we were saying before is there's just not as much production going on in LA. So, I don't think Paramount has any stake in saying, "Oh, we have studio space more." That means nothing to anybody, especially outside of LA. So, I kind of agree with what he's saying. I would think it's the least bad option, actually, and I hate to pin some of that on that they do kind of let their filmmakers do whatever.
Right. That is pretty cool. And then I guess the government will have to approve any
Yeah,
kind of sale, which could actually be a problem.
sure.
So it's possible Warner Brothers could just stay Warner Brothers. Who knows? Mario says, I am yet to finish Cobra Kai, to be honest. Thank you for the super chat, Mario. And I apologize if we're giving away spoilers on what happens at the end, but definitely check it out and let us know what you think. And then Sentai Ranger Donnie says, well, Ken, if Netflix does win the bidding war to buy Warner Brothers, then it will be under the condition of spinning of the latter's global network assets, including CNN. It's an interesting world, isn't it, Dave? Like, it's just all this consolidation in business, and like the people who are at the head of these companies, they're not just making movies and entertainment. They've got this entire portfolio that they're managing. So it's really, it seems like the entertainment sector of all this is getting kind of buried deeper and deeper. I guess that's just the world we're in, huh?
Yeah, and unfortunately, a lot of times it feels like people are just moving money to move it. So it doesn't feel like, oh, this is who owns this now. So this is great. Like in 3 years, somebody else will, or some new technology gets invented. Actually, real quick, I want to highlight a comment that says, it's from Cortez 8568. How about a Behind Enemy Lines 2? Back for more. Absolutely, yes. Behind Enemy Lines is so underrated. I love that film.
Yes. The Thomasine Griffith one, right?
Oh, I'm talking about Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson. Oh, okay. Yes.
We're talking about Thomasine Griffith. Is that the one where he's like skiing?
I don't think so. Let me just confirm this because
there's so many.
Yes. So there was a 1997 movie, Behind Enemy Lines, starring Thomasine Griffith. I have not seen it.
I've never seen this. And now, again, I'm going to say thank you for that comment, because I think we need to check this film out. We need to be beefing up on this.
Yeah, I think so. And that's something we can do, guys, going forward, is we could have discussions about Thomasine Griffith movies, maybe movies that you haven't seen before. Yes. And we'll, I think we should do that. John, NASA Canes fan, says, I don't bring politics in here. However, it seems to me the government prefers Paramount over Netflix. It's possible. Like, it's definitely, I think there are, maybe the government is more friendly to certain people than other people. But
I believe so. But the government changes. So.
Yes. And that's something that, I mean, I'm not an expert on how this works, but even if the deal goes through, there could be lawsuits about the deal. And then if the government has changed by the time these lawsuits are, the government could require a breakup of a company if it's deemed to be monopolistic. So yeah, who knows? One of the great points you made is about how this is not new for Warner Brothers. It was Warner Brothers, then it was Time Warner, then it was AOL Time Warner, then it was AT&T. Was it AT&T Time Warner or just AT&T Warner?
Yeah.
And then recently it's been Discovery. And so this has been the state of Warner Brothers since what, the early 2000s, late 90s. Like, it's just been constantly bought by different companies. And what would AT&T want with Warner Brothers? And I guess it didn't work out because, and so you would think Netflix would be maybe the best steward of all those things. I know I was wondering if Discovery, it had been known for reality series, like running and buying Warner Brothers, like, oh no, that's going to be bad. But actually, David Zaslav has done an amazing job putting out theatrical hits. Even though he comes from the Discovery background, so you never know what's going to happen.
And I think Warner Brothers had a pretty good year last year. Sinners was a big hit, and there's something. Minecraft was huge.
Yeah, that was huge. So anyway, we can't worry. We believe Terry's in charge. He's orchestrating things. So we have our faith in Terry. Dave, I want to thank you so much for joining us today with your Terry Christmas hat. Thank you.
It looks so dirty, by the way. It's absolutely disgusting. But
here, let's get a better look at that.
Served its purpose. You can see the dust caked into it. But I found it in the bathroom at LAX, so I thought it was fitting for this.
That's great. Well, Dave, I am going to look forward to you returning next weekend. We're going to do something totally different. We're going to have you on with Drew Rohalli, and we're going to talk about planes, trains, and automobiles. So this will be like a full discussion devoted to that. So please join us. It is a holiday favorite and maybe one of the greatest, if not the greatest holiday movie of all time. We want to talk about that and hear your thoughts on that. And then for all channel members, in about an hour, we're going to have a members only Q&A discussion. So I look forward to seeing all channel members there. Dave, thank you for joining us and sharing your wisdom. You are a Terry Silver guru and filmmaker, and I think you've made us all feel better today.
Oh, you've made me feel better by returning with the KenCast. We can go into 2026 with easy minds and love in our hearts, knowing that the KenCast has returned.
Thank you, Dave. And what makes the KenCast special are you, the viewers. So thank you for joining us. Thanks for all of your comments. And we look forward to seeing you again very soon. And I am a little bit rusty on StreamYard. So, okay, here we go. So here's the outro. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week.
Want to be part of the live KenCast show? Subscribe to the Ken Cole YouTube channel and hit the notification bell to get alerts about every new show. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next time on KenCast.